To this now, former Botswana President Ian Khama is heading back to South Africa after appearing in the Gaborone Regional Magistrates Court. The court has suspended 2 warrants of arrest against him. Khama faces a number of charges, including unlawful possession of a firearm and money laundering. Now he's in self-imposed exile in South Africa. Khama has been exiled in South Africa for some time now, and he made a surprise court appearance in Botswana, requesting the charges against him to be set aside and denying the charges, and of course accusing his successor, President Mokgweetsi Masisi, of masterminding his prosecution. And of course, to talk about the developments around this particular story and a bit more, we do have SABC News International editor Sophie Mokoena. So of course, lots of focus on this particular story, but there's one thing that I've been surprised by, because he got to Botswana today. Previously, when he's been in conversations with you, he's raised the issue of security.
You are correct. I was also surprised that he went back to Botswana. As you know, that during our conversation, the last one, he spoke about the challenges in relation to his security. You would recall that after returning from Angola from the SADC meeting, where he received the award that was given to his father, he spoke about at that time that even in Angola he had challenges, because he was told that there's likely to be an attempt in terms of his life in relation to perhaps poisoning. And therefore, when I saw that he is in Botswana, I was surprised. But I spoke to relevant people in Botswana. They told me that he drove himself to Botswana. As we speak, he's driving back. He did appear at the magistrate court in Gaborone, and of course the charges that he was facing will still come up. As you heard, that he will be back in Gaborone 2 weeks, in the coming 2 weeks. But also we are told that what happened is that the warrant of arrest was rescinded. But let's take a listen at the spokesperson of his foundation, what he had to say about why he was in Botswana and where to from here.
It will be recalled that President Khama has been out of Botswana since 2021, having initially traveled to the Republic of South Africa on a visit. And at the time, there were no charges or warrants against him. But subsequently, the former president became aware, while outside the country, of threats to his safety and to his life in Botswana, and therefore decided to not return to the country at the end of the visit. But in later months, while still outside Botswana, a variety of charges and a warrant of arrest were issued against him. But then, notwithstanding a lack of any guarantees for his safety in Botswana, in the end, following extensive consultations with his family and his legal advisors on learning about the charges against him, General Khama decided to return to Gaborone this morning to present himself to court in relation to the charges and warrants, so that he can deal with these issues conclusively. And therefore, in that regard, he is prepared to make any court appearance going forward whenever scheduled. As I speak to you, President Khama has traveled out of Botswana in line with his schedule of engagements. As you know, he's very busy around the world, and also to use the time to prepare for his permanent return to Botswana in the near future.
Quite an interesting, one, especially when you listen to the fact that they're saying he's preparing himself to make a permanent return. And this is a country, Botswana that is, that will be going to elections next month. And I wonder, what impact will this have on the contestation for power?
Well, you know that he did join another political party that was launched after leaving the party that was founded by his father, Khama. And therefore, I think what he will be doing, perhaps he will be helping the leadership of this new party to campaign. You know that, as you pointed out, next month Botswana will be going to elections, and maybe he's hoping that the party will do better. The party did contest the previous elections. The party didn't do well, and there were accusations of vote rigging and all of that, but that didn't come to pass in terms of court processes. And maybe this time around he's confident that he'll be able to help his party to get better results, and perhaps that will lead to him returning to his country permanently. And as you heard, that he is prepared to go back to court, and I think he will be going to court, I think, on the 23rd of September. But we'll try and get hold of him, because I'm told he is coming back to South Africa, and therefore tomorrow we'll try and get hold of him just to get his side of a story and what prompted him to go to Botswana, because all the time he was raising the issue of security, fearing that perhaps if he does go back to Botswana, he might experience challenges. You know that he couldn't even bury his sister and some relatives previously. Most of his relatives, close relatives, sisters, brothers are outside the country. Some of them have gone back, but maybe he also feels that it's time for him to go back to Botswana.
There's something else, of course, I can't let you go without talking to you about, is the passing of former Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan. We saw President Cyril Ramaphosa just a short while ago making his way into the family home. But this is a former, finance minister as well, who would have gone on different road shows to try and rally the troops in terms of getting investment for South Africa as well. Let's talk about his legacy on that particular front.
Well, clearly, when you look at his work outside the country, in terms of him being the Minister of Finance, engaging with foreign investors, he did have a support, and he did command respect from international investors. And you'd recall that when he was recalled, he was on a roadshow trying to woo investors to South Africa. And after his recall, we saw what transpired in relation to the rand and the economy. And also, it was a very difficult time at that moment. And then he was reinstated. And the truth is that abroad, international investors had confidence in Pravin Gordhan at that time when he was in that portfolio. So I think that's what happened, and we often spoke to him when he was in New York engaging international investors, and also when he was in London engaging international investors, when he was recalled in London when he was about to address international investors, and somebody had to step in. But of course he was reinstated. So looking at his work outside the country and him engaging the business, international investors, he was really, really respected by international investors.
All right, Sophie Mokoena there. Thank you so much for that update there. That's Sophie Mokoena, SABC News International Editor.